Let's take a look at Switzerland's newest fighter, the F-35 Lightning. It's official, Switzerland has chosen the Lockheed Martin F-35A Lightning II as its newest fighter plane. In a $5.5 billion deal that adds a 15th nation to the growing base of F-35 users, the agreement also comes alongside an additional $2.1 billion deal to buy the surface-to-air Patriot missile defense system. Switzerland's decision to procure the F-35 has sent shockwaves throughout Europe. The Lightning II beat out the Dassault Rafale, which is produced in France, the Eurofighter Typhoon, which is jointly produced by Germany, Italy, the UK, and Spain, and even the Boeing Super Hornet. Additionally, Swiss voters decided to remove the Saab Gripen from Switzerland's fighter competition some 7 years ago. After a lengthy evaluation process by the Swiss government between the remaining fighters, the decision to choose the contract for the 36 F-35s was according to the Swiss government due to the fact that the F-35 has, quote, the highest overall benefit at the lowest overall cost, end quote. The F-35 is no stranger to controversy, having been called the most expensive weapons platform ever. The program has been besieged by numerous cost overruns, technical setbacks, and initial production delays. Still, the Swiss acquisition of the F-35 could be seen as a turning point for the 5th-generation fighter, since as more nations adopt the platform, cost and interoperability factors can be scaled. In fact, the proposed contract for purchasing the F-35 and operating it over the next 30 years came in 2 billion francs lower than any other competitor at 15.5 billion francs. Let's take a deeper dive into the F-35. The Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II is a 5th-generation, single-engine, single-seat, multi-role stealth fighter, which is tasked with performing a variety of missions including strike, air superiority, surveillance, reconnaissance, and electronic warfare. Having been called the most lethal, survivable, and connected fighter aircraft in the world, the F-35 is intended to operate until 2070. Lockheed Martin is the primary contractor along with principal partners BAE Systems and Northrop Grumman. The F-35 is a truly international fighter, with tiered partner nations that include Norway, Australia, Denmark, Canada, and the Netherlands. The F-35 is actually a family of aircraft that is produced in 3 main variants: the CTOL or Conventional Takeoff and Landing F-35A, the STOVL or Short Takeoff and Vertical Landing F-35B, and the CV Cattelbar or Catapult Assisted Takeoff but Arrested Recovery F-35C. Here are some quick specifications for the model Switzerland has chosen, the F-35A. Length 51.4 feet. Height 14.4 feet. Wingspan 35 feet. Maximum speed Mach 1.6. Empty weight 29,300 pounds. Maximum takeoff weight 70,000 pounds. Range 669 nautical miles on internal fuel. Thrust to weight ratio 0.87 at gross weight or 1.07 at loaded weight with 50% internal fuel. Engines 1 Pratt & Whitney F135 PW100 afterburning turbofan producing 28,000 pounds of thrust dry or 43,000 pounds of thrust with afterburner. The F-35A is armed with the internal GAU-22A 25mm 4-barrel rotary cannon with 180 rounds of ammunition. Additionally, the F-35 has 4 internal stations and 2 weapons bays, which are used to maintain its stealth profile, and 6 external hardpoints, 3 under each wing that can be used for non-stealth missions. The internal stations can carry up to 5,700 pounds, while the external stations can hold up to 15,000 pounds. Total weapons payload capacity is 18,000 pounds. The F-35 can carry a diverse range of weapons including, for air-to-air missions, heat-seeking AIM-9X Sidewinders or AIM-132 ASRAMs. Radar-guided medium-range AIM-120 AMRAAMs or MDBA Meteor missiles. For air-to-ground missions, the AGM-154 Joint Standoff Weapon or JSOW, the Paveway Laser-Guided Bombs, Mark 20 Rockeye Cluster Bombs, Mark 77 Incendiary Cluster Bombs, the AGM-158 Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile or IJASSM, and the AGM-88 HARM Anti-Radar Missile. For anti-ship operations, the AGM-158C Long Range Anti-Ship Missile or LRASM. This list is by no means inclusive, as there are several future payload options currently being developed for the F-35. When it comes to sensors, the F-35 is equipped with the AN/APG-81, an actively electronically scanned array or AESA radar. An evolution of the F-22's AN/APG-77 radar, the APG-81 radar includes all the air-to-air modes found on the F-22, along with advanced air-to-ground modes that utilize high-resolution mapping, the ability to track multiple ground-moving targets, and electronic warfare capabilities. In a real-life flight test, 23 targets were within 100 miles of an F-35. In less than 3 seconds, 19 were automatically detected and tracked, with all 23 targets detected and tracked in less than 9 seconds. The radar continued to track these targets while simultaneously searching for new targets. Additionally, air-to-air and air-to-ground modes can be run simultaneously on the F-35's large cockpit display. These abilities offer first look, first shoot, and first kill capability of the F-35. It is not difficult to see why the APG-81 has been called the world's most advanced fire control radar found on a fighter. The F-35 makes use of a 360-degree spherical situational awareness system. Known as Distributed Aperture System or DAS, it consists of 6 infrared cameras mounted around the aircraft, which send HD real-time imagery directly to the pilot's helmet. This allows the pilot to fully see the environment around them in day or night conditions with no loss of clarity or quality. Among other features, DAS provides detection and tracking of missiles, fire control, tracking of friendly aircraft to enhance tactical maneuvering, and navigation assistance for both day and night modes. Furthermore, DAS integrates with other aircraft sensors, meaning that if the radar detects objects of interest, the DAS algorithms analyze them and recommends in which order to deal with the threats, essentially providing full data fusion. Additionally, the F-35 makes use of the world's first sensor platform which provides both forward-looking infrared or FLIR and infrared search and track or IRST functionality, which is known as an electro-optical targeting system or EOTS. Other aircraft make use of EOTS systems, but the F-35's is integrated into a combined unit. This lightweight system further enhances the pilot's situational awareness and is housed in a stealthy low-drag housing with a sapphire window. The EOTS integrates via high-speed fiber optic interface into the aircraft's integrated central computer. Unlike other fighters, the F-35 does not have a heads-up display or HUD. Instead, the F-35's pilots make use of a helmet-mounted display system, or HMDS, to view flight and combat data at all times. The HMDS also receives image data from the DAS and allows the pilot to effectively see through the aircraft. Additionally, the helmet allows for high angles of bore sight target locking, meaning that the pilot can look at a target and fire a missile at another aircraft that is not oriented to the F-35's nose. The main display of the F-35's cockpit is a 20-inch by 8-inch panoramic touchscreen that displays instrument, navigation, and combat data. The display allows the pilot to customize the information to meet the pilot's needs. There is a smaller backup display and speech recognition algorithms are also implemented. All of these aforementioned systems integrate to provide sensor fusion, which creates an integrated view of the battlefield. This provides unprecedented situational awareness and can be distributed to other assets via secure data links, such as the Multifunction Advanced Data Link or MADL, making the F-35 a force multiplier on the modern battlefield. Along with its advanced sensors, stealth is another key feature of the F-35. The airframe was designed and shaped to reduce the radar cross-section or RCS. This was done by aligning edges, making use of serrated skin panels, and masking the engine face. Furthermore, the F-35 has a divertless supersonic inlet or DSI, which uses a forward swept cowl and compression bump to divert the boundary layer away from the engine duct. Additionally, the F-35 makes use of radar absorbent materials or RAM. The F-35 applied lessons learned from previous stealth applications such as the F-22, and as a result, the F-35 skin is more durable and requires less maintenance than older topcoats. At certain angles and frequencies, the F-35's RCS is lower than a metal golf ball and compares favorably to the F-22. Additionally, the F-35's radio frequency emitters also employ rigorous controls to minimize or prevent their detection. Operational history. Although many details of the F-35's operational deployments are still classified, there are a couple of known examples that stand out. In 2018, during a test mission consisting of at least 3 Israeli Air Force F-35Is, the aircraft flew from Tel Aviv to the Iranian capital Tehran and back. The event was publicly unconfirmed. However, as a result of the mission, Iran's supreme leader reportedly fired the Air Force chief and commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Also in 2018, Marine F-35Bs operating off the amphibious assault ship Essex conducted strikes on Taliban targets. The number of aircraft and type of munitions used were not disclosed, but the attacks on a fixed Taliban position was considered a success. And more recently, US Marine and UK Royal Navy F-35Bs have deployed on the HMS Queen Elizabeth and are currently on a tour of the Pacific, which will include the South China Sea. Regarding Switzerland's decision, it is important to point out that while there is some internal opposition to the F-35, the Swiss parliament can debate the costs and terms but not revisit the fighter selection process. The F-35 will be a Swiss fighter. And finally, the F-35 certainly has had unprecedented cost overruns and has taken longer to bring into frontline service than anyone ever thought. However, the program did have some lofty goals and set out not only to be the best 5th generation air-to-everything platform, but also to be made available to allies. To date, there have been over 665 F-35s delivered to 9 nations, with more than 1,400 pilots and 10,700 maintainers trained. While operating out of 28 bases worldwide, F-35 production employs more than 254,000 direct and indirect jobs in the United States, in 48 states and Puerto Rico, with over 1,900 suppliers around the globe. Final assembly takes place in Fort Worth, Texas, Cameri, Italy, and Nagoya, Japan. What do you think? Is the F-35 the best fighter in the air today? Did Switzerland make the best choice? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'd like to take a moment to thank my Patreons who directly help support this channel. If you'd like to become a Patreon, I'll leave a link in the description below. And lastly, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click subscribe and then click the bell for notifications so you'll know when the next video comes out. Stay safe and see you next time.